Hi there, welcome to this quick equipment tip. I've got a wedge in my hand here, and I've got a 54-degree wedge. So that's the loft on the golf club, and that will dictate to some degree the trajectory that the ball takes off at. Okay, so for every 1 degree difference in the loft, you could be talking about 300 to 400 revs of spin on the golf ball, and more or less 1 degree of launch. Okay, so if it's 1 degree less loft, it'll take 1 degree off, 1 degree lower in the launch angle. It's not quite as simple as that, but more or less, just for the sake of this particular video. So if your lofts change, your trajectory changes. If your trajectory changes, the distance the ball flies changes, and how it flies into the wind and downwind and so forth changes as well. Now, your lofts can move. So this equipment tip is to say, get your lofts checked and make sure that the loft gaps between each club are correct. Now, it doesn't mean to say they have to be completely even. You'll see that as you, if you look at a club's specs, you'll see that it's probably 4 degrees between lots of the clubs. Let's say to the 9, to the 8, to the 7, you might have 4 degrees of loft gap. As you get towards the longer irons, maybe like the 6 and the 5 and 4, you might have 3 degrees of loft gap, because actually you need more strength, more power to generate the extra distance, with a lower loft. So they don't go quite as much lower as maybe the middle irons. So anyway, that's all part of building clubs and getting the spec right. But what you need to make sure is that lofts suit you, and also that they haven't changed too much. Okay, so your clubs can actually move, they can tweak, they can bend, especially if they're forged clubs, all right? So what it's worthwhile doing is, number one, making sure, find out where they are now, because actually as you've ordered them, there are tolerances within the industry. So the clubs you've got, the loft gaps might not be what they exactly should be, what they exactly say they are. So it's worth having them checked. It's worth having your yardages checked to see how far you're hitting each shot, and either adapting the, adjusting the lofts in order to get better gapping between your clubs, or just to make sure that the loft gaps are the right loft gaps to ensure you're getting the right distance between each club. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So yeah, the loft on the golf club is what we're talking about here. And so what you can do is, I've got a loft and lie machine here. I've got this wedge put into our Mitchell digital loft and lie machine. Digital is great. Mitchell's are top end in terms of the machines you can use. Digital's great because it gives you very, very exact tiny tolerances. Okay, and what I can do is I can get the bending bar. I was looking around for it there, I didn't know where it was, but I can actually move the wedge. Okay, and what I'll do is I don't know how well you can see the actual data moving here, but what we've got here, it's telling me it's a 57 degrees, 57.5 degrees in terms of the loft, and 64 degrees in terms of the lie angle. Now, if I put my bending bar, okay, over the hosel, and just tighten it up, what I can do is actually, with this one I can adjust it, and I can see it as I'm adjusting it, so it's really, really cool. So I put the jig onto the shaft itself. I've got my measurements. Now, if I want to make this, well, actually, I'm going to change it live. I do it this way. But if I'm going to change the loft, I'm going to pull the club. If I want to make it more lofted, I'm going to pull the hosel this way. All right, that's going to make the angle more lofted and put more loft on it. Okay, so I'll do that now. So it's 57.5 degrees of loft. Let's just, well, you can see that with the camera. Okay, but if I'm actually going to pull the hosel towards me here. So let's just adjust that. Okay, so I've done that. Okay, let's just reapply the jig. And now I've moved that to 59 degrees. Now, I didn't put a lot of force into that. This is a forged wedge, so I can move it quite easily. If you've got forged clubs in particular, especially wedges, which are hugely important in terms of distance control and trajectory, they can move. Yeah, as easy as I've moved that. Yeah, yes, it's in a jig. Yeah, it's going to be easier to move in a jig than it is out on the golf course, but they do move. So that's now 59 degrees. Okay, 59 degrees written just there. Okay, let me just move this so you can see it. Okay, so there we go, 59 degrees. Okay, now what I'll do, let me put you back. Fantastic camera work here. I hope you're enjoying this. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that 59 degrees. Let's move it back. Now, if I want to take loft off it, I need to move the hosel that way, okay? And there's difference between the hosel and your angle of the loft. I'm going to squeeze it back that way so the difference is less. All right, so 59 degrees. I'm going to take that back to 57 degrees. Okay, I'm going to move it to. All right, so I'm just going to come around here again. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me just move that back. There we go. Okay, I've just moved it. It's not exactly right, but there we go. I've just put the jig back on. You can now see, let's move that there. There we go. That should be able to see that. It's now 56.5 degrees. All right, I would just jig it to get to 57 exactly. That's how accurate we can be with the with this sort of equipment. All right, so doesn't take a lot to do. It's worthwhile doing it. There's a winter thing. Get ready for the new season. Be sure that everything about your equipment is absolutely spot on to give you as much control as possible. I'm just reading a Ben Hogan quote there. It says, "What's the key to trajectory?" It says, he said, "Is trajectory the key?" And it says, "Indeed," he said, "only with trajectory can you get accuracy." Let me just show you that. Okay, so only with trajectory can you get accuracy, all right? And that is basically talking about consistency of ball flight. If your lofts are different, if they've changed, then it's very difficult for you to judge distance. And if it's not the right loft setting, then you might not be getting the correct gaps between each club, all right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the camera work. I hope you enjoyed the video. Speak to you soon.